All righty. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Wait till our flag comes up. There we go. I pledge
allegiance
to the flag
and
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Rose, want to read the Open Public Meetings Act?
I absolutely will. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice this meeting was emailed to the Herald News, the record office of the county clerk, and posted on the PCC website and bulletin board on January 7th, 2022.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Rose. Evelyn, roll call.
Alumni Rep Martinez,
Here.
Trustee Drakeford, Trustee Esquiche, Trustee Glovin,
here.
Trustee Montanez Diodene, Trustee
Here.
Moody, Trustee Nutter,
Here.
Trustee Poe. Oh, Trustee Poe,
Here. I'm here.
Trustee Smith,
Here.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Here.
Chairman Marco.
Here. Okay, thank you, Evelyn.
Diodene. Okay.
First order of business is consideration of the minutes of the December 21st meeting. The Board of Trustees, are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion on resolution number 1, approval of the December 21st, 2021 minutes?
So moved.
I'll
move it.
Second.
Moved
Trustee
and
Poe.
Seconded. Roll call.
Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
Trustee Montanez Diodene,
Abstain.
Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Nutter,
Yes.
Trustee Poe. Trustee Poe.
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes. Okay. Next, Dr. Rose, give a presentation on the FY 2022-2023 budget.
Okay, I think do I have a different order? I have the instructional item first. Let me do that one first.
Sure.
No,
Oh, okay, presentation. Okay, we'll do the presentation.
presentation is the budget.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem. So we're presenting our budget to you tonight for FY 23, and obviously the basis of the budget that we give you is the audit which you got last month. So fortunately, as you've heard before, these years are not like any other years we've ever had before. Nothing is following normal patterns. We're not spending the way we normally do. We're not taking in revenue the way we do, but we've never gotten obviously such support from both federal and state government during the pandemic to make up for what we're not getting. So it's a very unique time, and it's a very unique time in order to craft the budget. But Stephen and his team have been spending months. Every year we try to get it a little closer and try to make sure we're absolutely on as sound footing as we possibly can going into the budget. So we feel very good about the budget we're presenting you tonight. It has no increase in tuition over last year, and this will be, I guess, the third year in a row that we have not recommended an increase in tuition. The county has really stepped up and has really been an incredibly strong supporter of what we're doing here. And they've always been a strong supporter. The last couple of years, it's even gotten stronger. And it is this strong county support that does allow us to not raise tuition, again, for a third year in a row. So, we have talked to the county. As you probably know, we're on a different fiscal year than the county does. Our fiscal year starts July 1st. The county's fiscal year started January 1st. So our budgets never match up. which is always a challenging thing to come together, but it's a technical thing. So the county is doing their FY22 budget as we speak, putting it together, and we've had discussions with the county administrator, and they have put us in for a 3% increase for this coming year, which is very, very generous, and we're really appreciative. So the county had us in for $16,500,000 in their FY21 budget. For the FY22 budget, they've put us in for $17 million. So we're obviously very pleased by that. That helps a lot. As some of you also know, that for the first time in probably almost 20 years, the Council of County Colleges was able to redo the funding formula for all of the 18 community colleges. And we had been advocating for some time, that the formula that was done 20 years ago had not kept up with a lot of changes that occurred. And we were able to negotiate a new formula, which, as you'll see in the budget, has really increased our allocation from the state. I mean, those things could not have come at a better time for us. So we're pleased by that as well, and we're also pleased that at this point, as you in December, you approved the last of the 3 major labor contracts that we have with the faculty. So our labor costs, other than people retiring and moving on and stuff like that, is pretty much set for the next 3 years, which really does give us some stability and the ability to project our budgets better. It's rare that we go into January with all of our contracts settled at the college, so we're able to do a lot in terms of predicting what it's going to be like next year. A couple of wild cards, and we're and Dennis, you might be able to help here more than anybody, but our healthcare costs, we have to try and predict what it's going to be next January.
Okay.
Luck with that.
Let me get that 8 ball.
Yeah, exactly. The trend for the past few years, after more than a decade of steady increases to our healthcare costs, the trend has been a little more positive over the last couple of years. Actually, the last 2 years. We're hopeful that next year it continues the trend that we've seen of at least moderation, if not, and there's nothing right now to make us believe that it's not going to be moderation again next year.
I agree. Yep, I agree with that.
So we've taken that into account in building our budget. We did put in a slight increase in healthcare costs, but basically fairly level. So I'm going to ask Stephen if Chris will put up the budget on the screen, and Stephen, you'll help walk us through it.
Yes. Well, Dr. Rose gave a great overview, so I won't bore you too much, but I do want to bring some things to your attention. So when you look at tuition, you see this declining slightly. Our assumption there is a 5% decrease in credit hours. So that's your first line there, the farthest column on the right side under proposed budget.
Could I ask you a quick question on that, Steve?
Yes.
What is that based on? Is that based on a guess, or is that based on last year? Or I saw that as well.
It is totally based on a guess.
Oh, okay.
Enrollments in pretty much, there are 3,200 colleges in the United States. Overall enrollment is down in all sectors of higher education. Community colleges have taken the biggest hit. Our enrollment as of today, we're down about 2% for the spring semester, but we are making budget for this year in terms of what we had projected. We do believe we're taking a fairly conservative view of what enrollment would be. We're hopeful that it's higher than this. We're hopeful that one of these days, things will start turning around. But if you could predict where the pandemic is going in the next, 6-9 months, we'll have a better idea of what enrollment will be. But none of us expected this January to be as challenging as it has turned out to be. So, who knows? But we that's our best guess right now.
Okay, no, I'm not questioning.
Yeah.
I just was wondering. I thought maybe it'd be worse than that, actually.
No, I mean, we feel Stephen and I had some deep conversation on what number to put in there, and we both feel that this is a fairly conservative but somewhat realistic view of where things may happen to be. We don't think it's going to be worse than that.
Okay, great. All right, good. That's good to hear.
Thank you, Dr.
Sorry.
Rose. Oh, no worries. Again, I try to touch on the big three, so I'll stick with the big numbers there. The fees, again, as part of tuition, usually it's, they kind of move hand in hand. If one increases a certain percentage, the other does as well. And that's based on total credits. However, the fees, we did find some opportunities there, specifically in the nursing and those technical type fields where we see an opportunity to increase the course fee. So that's why you see a slight increase from the previous year's budget. Dr. Rose talked about the state and county aid, so I won't mention that. I do want to bring your attention to other revenue. We brought that up slightly, and I need to compare that to the actual. So if you go to the farthest corner on the left side, you'll see the revenue was $8.5 million. And the bulk of that basically is lost revenue. We were able to, working with the auditors and talking with Dr. Rose and using other sources to maximize lost revenue. And so that's why that's so large. The 2.8, most of that money that we got from the pandemic has to be exhausted by September. And so that's us maximizing the funds available to us. We think we can get 1.7. So 1.7 is pandemic aid. The rest is our normal revenue that we receive from operating, from miscellaneous sources. The bulk of that would be things that we have written off historically. And for some reason, students come back and we capture that revenue at that point. So that's what makes up the other revenue category. Moving down slightly. Chris, can you move down a little bit? Yeah, perfect. So in these categories, most of these are just modest increases, but basically the raise and assume CPI. So it's anywhere from 2 to 3% increase. We know, as Dr. Rose mentioned earlier, we know all the employees that we have. So we budgeted for 286 full-time positions. We have some vacancies in those positions, but we budget their raises. As Dr. Rose said, we had the opportunity to get perfect information because we have signed agreements. So we know the wages, and we also, as Dr. Rose mentioned, assumed a slight increase for healthcare. And where we get the biggest cushion on the healthcare would be for employees that are vacant. We automatically assume worst case scenario or conservative. We assume that they have the family plan, so we budget healthcare at a higher rate for vacant positions. So that accounts for the increase in general for labor and other expenditures. I just draw your attention to the bottom line. Again, looking at the extreme corners, the far right and the far left. On the far right, we feel that the budget, we're going to be able to balance the budget with $56.5 million. If you look at the far left, we had a significant surplus. Again, the lion's share of that came from, well, all of it came from the pandemic aid. That number is slightly higher than what you saw in the audit. The audit was like 9.5. This number is 11.3 for operating. So in the audit, they show you all funds. So we have restricted and some other funds that are included, the capital. In this case, we only show you the operating, the money that the college generates. And in this, we have the difference between those two numbers would be the capital from the county. So the college typically funds that, and then we get it on a reimbursement basis. And historically, we've always shown it running through operating. So that's why this number is slightly higher than the number you see in the audit. But on the,
And that's a good thing.
and it's always the case. The fund balance for operating is usually higher, and there are some negative balance specifically for bonds payable on the principal that come out of the capital fund, which you don't see. But there is a line here to cover the bond for next year. We always budget for that, and that amount is $920,000. We have a specific line detail to pay the bond, so that's included in this budget. I did miss one point, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. If we could just move up slightly, Chris, back to the revenue section. I'm sorry, thank you. So in order to balance the budget, we do need to dip into fund balance slightly. That number is $740,185. I talked to Dr. Rose on several occasions. We feel, again, we're being conservative. That would be, at this point, the maximum amount we would need to dip into to balance our budget. So those are the broad highlights of the budget that we present before you, and I'll take any questions. Do you have any questions?
All right, hearing none.
Hearing none.
All right, we'll go on. So you've got all the detail in the budget in your board packet. So obviously, if you have any questions after this, the next step will be probably next month going to the county with the Board of School estimate, where we'll meet with the county, which consists of 3 of our commissioners and 2 of our trustees, who will meet and will formally set the budget, for FY23 for us. The other things that you have are our Chapter 12 funding and our County of Passaic funding that are in the budget. The one thing I will bring to your attention, one of the requests that we're making to the county that's in the budget here is for the first time since 1986, replacing our computer system at the college, what they used to call our mainframe system, which is, it's no longer called that, but most of you would recognize basically the software and the system that runs, basically runs everything in the college, from registering students to our financials, to our human resources, to all of those things would all be covered on this. Our system is old and antiquated. It's a process we started probably almost 2 years ago now, starting to look into replacing the system. Since Brad came on board, he's been focused on getting our systems ready to be converted to a new system, which is no easy job at all. So you'll see that one is $3.5 million in here for the whole process of converting our system. So that's the big point in a capital budget this year we wanted to bring to your attention. So again, happy to answer any questions. So that's our budget.
I have one question. Oh, I have to find it. I'm scrolling here.
Okay.
I know one was adjunct. I can't find it right now. Here it is, where there was like 3,900 in our approved budget, but now it's multiplied threefold for the next year. Can you speak to that?
What page are you on? That would be helpful.
I think page, it says, hold on.
In the bottom corner, it should give.
It says page 2 of 16.
Got it. And what line particularly are you looking at?
Our adjunct office and for the expenses.
The second.
It went from 3,900 to 9,700?
Yes.
Jackie, any idea?
Maybe a few more part-timers. I mean,
Yeah, maybe just some part-time help to help work with the adjuncts. I mean, that's relatively small.
Yeah.
And then the other one, it was
That's probably one part-time employee.
Right.
I had basically the same question for nursing, where and that's on page 5 of 16,
Okay.
where we have maybe about a $16,000 decrease in expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, what we do each year is one of the things that Stephen does. He meets with each department to talk about their particular needs. In a nursing department, I don't know if Stephen, if you remember this one, in particular, very often it is software which they need and where they have licenses for these things. And we actually put in what the actual costs are for each of these things. In some cases, it may be that it's a 2-year contract on some of the things that we only have to pay for once every 2 years. Some things are 18-month contracts that we have, so it just may not have fallen in this year.
Okay.
And if I could add, Trustee Smith, and Dr. Kanivi, I'm sure I exhaust her, but as Dr. Rose mentioned, we look at each of the department's budgets, and what we try to do is start build off of last year's budget, and basically for this particular year, we said, we'll leave the money here. If you want to move it, let us know. And in some instances, they may have made the decision to move some money out of one department into another, but that's totally driven by the department chair with the approval of Dr. Kanivi. So I don't necessarily cut their budgets unless, like a few years ago, we had dire times and the message was, we need to cut. And again, we look to them to tell us what they want to cut. So most of these small changes like that come directly from the departments.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Good questions. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on the agenda. Dr. Rose, you're up again with reports.
Okay, obviously, just to make you aware, and I think you may notice already, obviously the surge in COVID probably, for colleges and universities could not have happened at a worse time, in the December, January period when we're trying to enroll, a new class. And obviously we were instituting the vaccine mandate, which you approved back in September. I think Dr. Kanivi and her office has met more times on the course schedule this spring than probably we've met in the past decade on any course schedule, of trying to figure out which classes would be taught remotely over Zoom, which classes would be in the classroom, which would be a combination of remote in the classroom and online, and all these kind of things. And we're, trying, and then of course, we have the pandemic, and we're trying to, so we, like quite a few other colleges, adjusted the beginning of our semester. We were supposed to start classes tomorrow, and instead we moved it to the 31st of January to just give a little breathing room, give students an opportunity to get another shot if they need it in terms of being ready to take in-person classes. Also, the prediction was that we would hit the peak of the Omicron variant sometime in mid-January. It appears that happened.
Yep.
It appears we're on the way down now. So we're hopeful that, things have already calmed down a little. Hopefully by the 31st, we will have calmed down better. We think it's it's the most student-friendly thing we could do. And hopefully it will, help us to maximize enrollment for the spring. So we'll be starting classes on the 31st for our 15-week semester. Our 12-week semester will start a few weeks after that. And it gives us more time to give students that comfort level. Right now, as you know, many of our students have children of their own. Some of the schools, like Patterson, have gone remote at this point. And a lot of the students who are parents have a really hard time coming to school when their kids are home. So, we're obviously, we don't know when some of the school districts are going to convert back to in-person instruction. It appears that the plan is, hopefully by the end of this month, they will also be going back to in-person instruction, which will coincide with when our classes start. So that will also help, give some relief to some of the parents who are out there who are trying to juggle their own kids in school and their own education at the same time. So, we think it's going well. Students are enrolling. Of course, as human nature is, students now are by the hundreds sending in their vaccination things. Many of them, they had their vaccination 6 months ago, but they're just getting around to sending us their vaccination information now. Many of them, 2-3 months ago, registered for classes that were in person. And when they registered, they were told, don't register for these classes unless you've been vaccinated. Of course, they registered for the classes, but they never let us know that they were vaccinated. So, there's a whole team here who every day are processing, vaccination cards, which are being submitted to us. And even our employees are, 2 of our faculty submitted their vaccination cards just today to be ready for the beginning of the semester. So it's a never-ending challenge, but we're getting there. We're managing it, and a lot of people are pulling double duty trying to get through this, but we're getting there.
Great.
All right, New Jersey Securing Our Children's Future Bond Act, as many of you are aware, as I think all of you are aware, we've been working very closely with Passaic County Technical Institute, and one of the things that they've agreed to do is allow the college to build a building on the PCTI campus. This would be an automotive facility where we're going to be able to run our associate degree in automotive technology and an associate in applied science degree. This will allow students from not only PCTI but from any of the high schools that have automotive programs to come and get a college degree in automotive, much at a higher level than they would get it from graduating from the high school. So this is a bond act that was approved by the voters, which we're able to put in for these funds. So what you see here is a resolution from the board, which will allow us to go forward and apply for these funds. It's due February 14th. So this is our last meeting before that. And we're very hopeful that we'll get funded, and this will be very exciting for the college and the county to be able to provide this new opportunity for residents of Passaic County. So happy to answer any questions on that as well.
I have a question. What is it, the timetable on this, and I think it was in the agenda, is that a real timetable in your view?
Yeah, pretty realistic.
So 2 years is about what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we apply on the 14th of February. What typically happens is the state will take 2-3 months, 4 months to
Review.
choose who's going to get it. Hopefully we'll be one of them. And then people like you take over, the lawyers take over. And unfortunately, that tends to take a while until we get a final contract, which gives us the ability to go out and, go out to bid and get this thing done. It'll probably take about a year to build. So yeah, it's probably 2 years.
To being over optimistic then?
Maybe, it's a relatively small project,
I'm kidding.
But yeah, we've had, as you know, these things are more likely to go over than to be under. So,
Yep.
No, I know that. I'm just curious because the timing on this, I was curious about when this is going to be awarded because it was not clear.
And we don't know. It could be relatively quick.
Okay. All right.
It could be relatively quick. One of the interesting things, and this just shows how up in the air these things are. So, the firehouse project, which seems to be going on forever, of converting the firehouse. So we've made some very good strides there, and it's getting done. So we're to the point of installing the electrical service.
Oh, good. All right.
Well, hang on. No, not good. We reach out to PSE&G because as it was designed that there be a transformer on the premises to bring the electrical power. There's different ways of bringing electrical power in. So PSE&G finally comes out to the site and meets with our team, and PSE&G says, all right, yep, we can do the transformer, no problem. But the backlog on transformers right now is 18 months.
What?
Yes.
Are you curious? 18 months.
18 months. 18 months in order to get a transformer at this point. So It appears, and I haven't heard the result, today our architect was running around town to see if the city will approve us doing the electrical in a different way, basically bringing 2 circuits into the building rather than using a transformer in order to do it. And that could reduce it to, maybe 4 or 5 months in terms of getting it done. So we're looking for an alternative way. PSE&G has said it's fine. There's no problem doing it that way. It's just, it's in some way it saves some money by not having a transformer, but in other ways it's more electrical work. But hopefully it'll turn out to be a wash. And as long as we can get the city building inspector and the fire chief to sign off on it, we're probably in good shape. So but that just shows how you can't tell anything these days.
Yeah, I get the picture. I've had a little experience myself in this
Yep.
kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
supply chain, good old supply chain.
It's 18 months to get a transformer from PSE&G. I mean, it just kind of shows where we are these days. But right now, we had a meeting today with our architect, and we're still hopeful that we can be up and running by September on this building right now. So that's the goal. If we can pull this electrical off, we should be okay for September. If not, it's probably another year. But that's where things are right now with this kind of stuff. Purchases of goods and services. Happy to answer any questions about any of the purchases. I don't think there's anything too unique in there today. Last thing is the amended PCCC Facilities Master Plan 2017 to 2023. This corresponds with putting in the application for the thing. If you're in putting in for this grant, we have to show that there's a master plan that covers this. So we had to amend. Our master plan actually ended now, and we're planning on bringing you a much more comprehensive master plan sometime in the near future. But this is an update which allows us to apply for these funds. So that's why that is here today.
Is that the only change though at the moment in the plan? Because I didn't see the original plan.
The only other changes in there are what you see for the Chapter 12 portion that's going in right now.
Oh yeah, no, of course. Okay, I forgot that. Yeah,
nothing else. Right now, basically, we're replacing roofs and updating HVAC systems and doing stuff like that. That's more or less our facilities. But this one new building up at PCTI is the biggie.
Okay,
So those are my items.
personnel items, we don't talk.
We have no need to go into executive session right now to.
Okay, great. Now, we're having a public hearing. Is that on the agenda here for the budget, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it
Notice
is.
of the public hearing was emailed to the Herald News, the Record, and posted on PCC website and bulletin board on College Boulevard on January 7th, 2022. Do we have anyone from the public on at all?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. Okay. Any of the trustees have any other additional comments on the budget at all? Okay, if not, may I have a motion to adopt consent resolution number 3, approving the following items as set forth in the memoranda dated January 18th, 2022. Instructional items, the New Jersey Securing Our Children's Future Bond Act. Business items, proposed 2022-2023 budget. Purchase of goods and services. The PCC Facilities Master Plan 2017-2023 amended. Personnel items, personnel actions as listed in the personnel action memorandum. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll.
Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
trustee Martinez Diodene. Trustee Diodene. Trustee Diodene.
She's
Come
there.
back.
She's there,
Yeah.
she was on mute.
I'll come back. Trustee Moody.
Yes.
Trustee Nutter.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Diodene, yes. Okay, trustee Nutter, yes. Trustee Poe.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes. Okay, are there any remarks from the trustees on any other matters? I'm hearing none. We don't have any members from the public on, so that's okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Move it.
Moved in a second. Okay.
Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
Trustee Diodene,
Yes.
Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Nutter,
Yes.
Trustee Poe,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes.
Dr. Rose,
Yes.
you're going to be available tomorrow. I want to talk to you about what's going on with the conference.
Yes, I want to talk to you as well and to Trustee Poe. It does not look like the conference is going to be, well, we'll talk. We'll talk.
All right. I don't know how busy you are tomorrow. Should I call you in the morning or?
Yeah, anything other than 10 o'clock should work.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Yep, we'll talk.
Is this the ACCT conference?
Yeah, one of the problems is that they have closed all the House and Senate buildings.
Yep.
So that you cannot even go on Capitol Hill. And those of you who have been with us to Washington before know that that is the major part of the conference, is going up to
Right.
Capitol Hill and meeting with our congressional leaders. And not having the ability to do that seems to have changed the whole dynamic. So
Yeah, on Friday, Aaron reported to the members of the state and federal, committee that they were thinking about maybe having one large room and then, having them interact on, virtually with the members of the Congress. But then everybody had to bring their laptop because, the hotel wouldn't have the accommodations for the room. So
it's not going to work.
no, it's not going to work. And I think I'm going to have some extra time at home here.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out.
All right. No, I'll call you tomorrow. I just wanted to know what was going on. So
Sounds good.
That's what I
Yeah.
figured.
Keep me posted as well. So I'm assuming we're gonna just cancel it, but just let me know either
Yep,
way.
no problem. We will certainly let you know.
We'll get our own room here. We'll have one big, large TV, right? We'll get
That sounds good.
Brad to set it up, right?
Sounds good. Or maybe Congressman Pasquarello will be in town and we can get him to come over.
Yeah, we could have that. That'll work.
We could do our own.
Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate all your.
Thanks, everybody.
time and-
Stay well.
Good night.
Have a good night. Have a good
Good
evening.
night.
Take care.
Night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.